Welcome to all of you guys, and thanks for coming. I'm Hoiko, and I'm the department chair for the AMT program at the College of Alameda. And to begin with, isn't this a nice environment? Yes. Yeah, and all of these here this is Oakland Aviation Museum, has something to do with Oakland. And really, if you look at it, the history of them, they're all here. And so we're very happy to be here, and I was hoping Ian was here so that he could say something. I guess he heard I was going to invite him to talk. He left right away. So in any case, we're very good to have our Dean of Instruction for this division, and Shah Perles. Shah?
Hi. Welcome. I'm glad all of you were able to make it out and that to find out that you have an interest in our aviation maintenance program. It's one of our most popular programs on campus. I'm always going to tell you why. There is a number of different job opportunities that students can have after graduating from this program, not just working in the airline industry, but a number of different job variations. And I think Hoi is going to go over
some of those
job titles. Also, we have a counselor here with us as well, Camille Santana. She's going to be talking to you a little bit later of all our different student support programs that we have for the students. And we're trying to make a bigger presence of student support at the airport campus because you may or may not know that we have 3 different campus locations. So College of Alameda has the main campus, which is located right there, right when you get out of the tunnel on the corner where In-N-Out is. How can you miss that? And then we have the aviation campus, which is just down the street. How many of you guys have visited the College of Alameda Aviation Campus? Okay, so one. So yeah, if you ever have a chance to go visit, they're in session right now, but it's a great facility. You can definitely see why the students thrive there. And then also College of Alameda has a science annex, which is another satellite campus that we have. So without further ado, I think Hoi is going to tell you a little bit about the program, the admissions requirements, because this program is so impacted that if you look in the class schedule and you say, hey, I want to take these aviation maintenance classes, and you go online and you try to enroll, that you won't be able to enroll that way. You actually have to go through the orientation and then also just get an understanding of what the program entails, because we definitely want to make sure that all the students know what they're getting themselves into so they can succeed through the program.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Just to give you a brief intro into who I am and what I've done and what I've did so far. And I've been a mechanic for many years, and I have rise through the rank and became all the way up to directors. Some of my ex-students are now CEO of big corporation like Tramco. He's a CEO there, and also vice president and so on and so forth. And they all started with just an A&P license. Okay, I have been in the industry since the 70s, and I work for United. I work for many different airlines. The last adventure I just came back from is I spent 13 years in Asia Pacific as a consultant on aviations as well as on setting up repair station and various things. I just got back, and here I am. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what is AMT, and what is the difference between us and other schools, and so on and so forth. Okay, so here we go. Topics we're going to cover is what is AMT, all right? And a lot of people look at AMT as in what is that? AMT, how do you qualify to be an aircraft mechanics and maintenance technicians, all right? And if you want this presentation, I could email that to you. I didn't want to kill trees, so I didn't want to make a whole bunch of copies and you're going to throw it away later on. So I got to point at this. All right. What is AMT? Now, In the United States, we call them AMT. Is basically is aircraft maintenance technicians. Do you know outside of the United States, they are called engineers. They are not mechanics. A lot of people confuse the fact that mechanic is kind of a grease monkey type and finger dirty and all those. Believe me, I have a few of my colleagues here, and they will tell you working on aircraft is not like that. All right? Occasionally get dirty, but not always like that. All right. So because the industry is getting so advanced now, you almost have to be an engineer to be a mechanic now. You have to know a little bit about everything, including electricity. You know, you heard of fly-by-wires. So you think a regular person that only turn wrenches can do something like that? No, they have to be able to have the aptitude to learn, to go further. All right. AMT are certified aircraft technicians. Who certify them? We're going to talk about that. Under what regulation are they certified? We're going to look at that. But AMP certificate basically is another name to say aircraft mechanic is the airframe and power plant technicians. Now, being an airframe and power plant technician, basically you could do body work. You could work on the engine, the propellers. Basically, as an AMP mechanic in the United States, you could virtually work on all airplanes, all type, including helicopters. Now, under the United States system, you could do that. But if you go outside of the United States, it's a little bit different. They fall under the European system, which is called EASA. All right? We will touch on that, but we won't talk that much about it. But most importantly, I look at AMP mechanic as in all-purpose mechanic. All right? AMP is actually all-purpose. Why is that? Because you learn a little bit about everything. At the end of the day, you're going to see that not only aircraft companies like airlines or general aviations like to hire, or corporate aviation like to hire AMP mechanics, you're going to have BARTs, the light rails. They love to hire AMP mechanics, right? There's one right here. He jumped ship from being an aircraft mechanic and went to BARTs. All right? So we have all kinds. All right. So what is AMT? It's first foremost is the attitude. You talk to these employers and say, hey, why do you hire an AMP mechanic and not an automotive mechanic? The first thing they come out to say is because of their mindset. Because we believe in doing things right the first time. All right? If you don't do it right the first time, you think you could park at Cloud 9 and come get a tow and then come back later and fix it again? I don't think so. All right? So the main thing is we always promote the safety concept and attitude. All right? Because your loved ones and your friends and family will be flying on this airplane that you have worked on. You know, my biggest fear was, being a teacher since the 80s, my biggest fear is walking up to the airplane and seeing one of my flunky students with a wrench and say, I got you now. And I said, oh, no. That's why we hold the standard very high. We don't just give away certificates. Because we know all of our loved ones will be on this airplane that one day these students will be working on. And that's really why BARTs love to hire aircraft mechanics, because of their attitude. Because aptitude-wise, anybody could turn a wrench, right? So they think. Not really. So they think. But can you do it with a good attitude? That's the key. And knowledge of an AMP mechanic, or AMT, is really, they are multifaceted. Like, they have to know a little bit about electronics, mechanical, hydraulic, hydroelectric, everything like that. Why? Because these airplanes are moving that way. You know, nowadays, aircraft are controlled by 3 or 4 computers. They did away with the flight engineers. They don't need flight engineers anymore. Pretty soon, they're going to say, we don't need pilot too. All right? Airplane nowadays could land by itself. They call it Cat 3 landing. They just say, oh, I don't need to know. They just press a button, down it goes. I don't mean down it goes, I mean it lands. All right? So a mechanic is no longer what it was like, ranchers and all those. Now you really have to put being able to read, write, and read manuals and follow instruction. All right. So with that said, you know what? In my experience, looking back, you know who makes the best mechanics? Women. Why is that? Why is that? Because women are more methodical.
Thank you.
Men tend to do what? Well, let's tear into it, and if it breaks, let's look at the manual, see what we screw up on. Women know. They said, let's make sure we know what we're doing, then let's go do it, and do it right. Isn't that how it works? The main important is the AMT is their commitment to safety. You ask the FAA, why do you have to have a license to work on this airplane? Why is there so many regulations to govern what we need to do? How are we going to do it? How are we going to comply? Right away, they say one thing. It's for the safety of the general public. It's for the safety of the airplane. All right? So it's your commitment to safety that makes you into a good mechanic. All right. The FAA and AMT, you cannot talk about one without talking about the other. All right. Under the FAA 65, subpart D, it outlines, you could actually do a web search on this and type that in. It outlines what it takes to become an aircraft mechanic. Do you have to have your engineering degree? No. But you need to you need to know how to read and write and understand the English language. You have to be at least 18 years old. Right there, you have to be at least 18 on the day that you are certified. So just think about this. I'm 16 years old. I decided to go through my A&P training. 2 years later, I'm 18. On the day I turn 18, I get my A&P license. I'll go get a job somewhere. The starting wage of $52,000 a year. How many 18-year-olds you know that make that much money? Or even 20-year-olds that make that much money after 2 years of education? So it is an opportunity that a lot of people look at this and, hey, why not look at this as an alternative or as an option to your career path? So you look at this, it said, must meet the applicable experience requirement. Now, this is for those of you that work in another country or maybe came out of the Air Force or came out of the Armed Force that had experience working on airplanes. Can you qualify to become a certified aircraft mechanic? The answer is yes. Do you need to go through that 2-year program? The answer is no. Because your experience counts. Let's say you want to spend 2 years as an apprentice doing something like this. All right? You work 18 months as an apprentice. All right? Then you'll be qualified to become a certified mechanic. All right? That's another route. So you got two paths. You could either go through the experience path, which is, well, I remember having parents come to me and say, the kid wanted to go through this because he needs discipline. Well, that's, of course, is a career now. In the military, it's no longer, it's a draft or it's a commitment. It's really a career. It's a job. All right? You can go that path coming out, and you will be eligible to become an aircraft mechanic. Or you go through the educational route. Obviously, their parents don't want the kid to go into the military. They say, go this route. All right? So that's the option. All right? And the FAA does allow that. So if you look at this, you have to, either you go through the experience or you have to go through a technical school like us. We are a certified, the College of Alameda is a certified AMTS, which is the Aviation Maintenance Technical School. All right? So we are certified to train you to become an aircraft mechanic. Now, if you look at that, we're never in competition. Aim across the street, that way somewhere. All right? They have the exact same curriculum as we do at our college, and it's the same curriculum as the school in San Francisco and the same one in Solano. So what makes us each one better? No, just whatever is convenient for you, whatever you want to attend is good. Because our curriculum is mandated by the FAA. Every topic, everything is you have to teach it to this level, you have to cover these items. From basic physics to advanced physics, from basic electronics to advanced electronics, from basic sheet metal to advanced composite. All right? So basically, you can learn everything, a little bit of everything, everything. By the time you finish, you're not really an expert on everything, but you have the basic to move on to learn more. And that's what this program does for you. All right? All A&P programs are exactly, well, the same, except you have to look at, 1, the cost of attending the school, 2, the time, 3, the instructor that you have in there. All right? 3rd is the most important. Are these units transferable? All right? Many of you don't realize that some of these private schools may not be accredited by accredited for their unit, and they may not have, their unit may not be transferable to a 4-year institution. Let's say you want to move on later on and to get your bachelor. Will you be able to do that? Well, at College of Alameda, yes, you can. As a matter of fact, we do have a articulation program with San Jose State in their maintenance management bachelor degree, and so on and so forth. You could actually have a path to move toward that way. All right? You know who make the most money is that A&P with a business degree. Wow, you never thought about that. The last item right here must successfully pass FAA examination. That means you have to, when you're going through a 147, you have to pass every topic with 70% or higher. To us, to the FAA, I shouldn't say to us, the college, a D is passing. To the FAA, a D is not passing. You must have at least 70% or better in order for them to recognize as you completed the program. Okay? And there is a very strict guideline as to what you can do and what you cannot do, and every hours of attendance counts. They figure that if you're going to be there for X amount of time, you may not have learned everything, you might have fell asleep, but at least you are there, you must have absorbed so much topics and so on and so forth. So to them, the time limit is the only thing they can monitor to see if you have full participation of that curriculum. At the end of all that, we certify you that you meet all the guidelines. You meet all the hours, you meet all the hours requirement, you meet all the grade requirement. Now you are now eligible to get a certification examination to become an A&P mechanic. All right? That will be a written exam. Basically, it's all true and false. And then you need to go through an oral and practical. Oral and practical basically is they ask you scenario questions and you have to answer that according to what is acceptable to the FAA. All right. And then you need to take a practical. They say, okay, now go rivet something. All right, or go change something, or go repair something. All those are within that curriculum itself. So if you said you passed that with 70%, you should not have any problem validating the fact that you did learn all those. That makes sense? All right. That's what you need to do. All right. All right. Under the 147, it is not just say you are certified 147. Under a 147, it is the curriculum has to be exactly what the FAA prescribed. Second is that your teacher must meet their guideline, their requirements. All right? In other words, if you have somebody that have no idea about aircraft and try to teach aircraft, that won't work. All right? So they have a certain guideline to evaluate the instructors to see if they do qualify. And we, at COA, we also do that under the state guideline of what qualified to be an instructor as well. All right. They also look at all your training aid and all your training material to make sure that you have what it takes to train somebody to a certain caliber. More importantly is they come and survey them every so often. They come and sit in your class. I have FAA standing in the corner watching me. I don't even know that. He's watching me for about 20 minutes, and that's, oh, it's okay. For as long as we are clear in what we do, for as long as we do what we are supposed to, do we have to worry about them walking in and out? No. We invite them. It's an open door. You can come on in anytime. All right? We want to do that because we want to be transparent. We want the FAA to see what we do, to validate the fact that you are doing what you are supposed to. All right? They will not tell you you're doing good, bad, or indifference. They will come and tell you you are doing it wrong. But if they don't say anything, you're doing it good. Isn't that how FAA works? All right. So the main thing is they are there to ensure quality and compliances. All right. You can search. If you want to know, let's say you are interested in the AMT program, but you don't live in this area. You can go on the FAA.gov, and they will provide you with a list of schools in your area that have that type of program. All right? And sad to say is, long time ago, well, when I first started, there were over 100, close to 150 schools, similar schools. But because of the last 10 years, the fluctuation, it wasn't too good in the last couple of years, and a lot of the A&P schools start closing up or change business, and now there's down to about 100 of them, okay? But you can find out the list of them through the FAA web. The College of Alameda is a 2-year program. It's a 2-year program. It can be shortened down if you attend summer school. But we cannot plan that into our curriculum because summer school is basically, we're looking at availabilities, budgets, and fundings, and things like that. But if you attend the summer school, it will shorten your period from 2 years by about 1 semester as well. Isn't that just like 18 months then? All right? So if you attend summer school, then that program will be shorter. But we cannot figure that into our equation because we don't know if this is going to be offered every summer. All right? There might not be any state budget to offer that. In that case, then you're going to say, well, you know what, you told me 18 months is now 2 years. What happened? Well, we could not offer summer. All right? We don't want to do things like that. So basically, you're looking at a 2-year program. All right? Now, what else does College of Alameda offers? Now, we are a community college. We are no different than other program at the college, okay? We are community college. That means our tuition is going to be at the same rate as community colleges. The entire program will cost you about $3,600 for the full 2 years. If you compare that to many other schools, you're looking at $36,000. All right? So I'm not saying that you should go to one or the other, but the thing is you need to look at that and say, well, what else do you have to offer? Right? We need to look at that. Well, I'd like to invite Camille up here and just tell you a little bit about the student support that we have aside from financial aid and other things.
So I am an academic counselor. I work at College of Alameda. My office is housed on the main campus. I provide support in terms of looking up courses, figuring out your schedule, how to navigate the school online system, to figure out where your services are and support services. On campus, there are a range of different resources. So we have our counseling department, helping us select major, transferring if that's an interest of yours, academic advising, giving referrals for any resources. There's student educational plans, so we plan out every semester what your semester will look like. There's also a Veterans Resource Center on campus. There's the EOPS program. They have specialized counselors that provide support and assistance with financial scholarships. In addition to tutoring, book vouchers, There's a one-stop career center, so support with resume building, interview skills, networking. The financial aid department, the $3,600, you could be eligible for financial aid and have maybe your cost is way less than that. So that's definitely something to check out. There's also the disability services program. So if you have a disability, you can get support through this program, such as note-taking, let's see, extra tutoring. You have a counselor that you'll work with to see if there's any accommodations in terms of taking tests and maybe having extended time for tests, etc. If you're interested in transferring, so the chair mentioned about the San Jose State program. If you're interested to go on to a bachelor's, you can get support there. The Learning Resource Center is amazing. It's on the second floor of the library. There's tutoring available for pretty much all subjects. There's an open lab with access to computers on campus. There's also access to health services, and there's a little overview there. On the back, we have an overview of the variety of tutoring available on campus. Raise your hand if it's been a while since you've been in school, and no, don't be shy. The tutors are amazing. Our counselors are amazing. So we want to help you transition to feel comfortable as a student at College of Alameda so you guys can be successful. We're really excited that you're taking this big step in putting your interest out and kind of being really public about, hey, I'm thinking about going back to school. This is an amazing step, so I do want to commend all of you. That's a big step. But we're there to support you. And then we also have some professional development programs. So these are just different things that you might find interesting, which they major in, networking, job search, resume interviews. If you're also looking for work, tap into these resources. They're free for students. There's a lot there. I have a resource to all of you. My email, if you want to write this down, is camsantana@peralta.edu. So my name is Camille Santana, academic counselor, so camsantana@peralta.edu. I would be more than willing to meet with you, see how you're doing, and kind of transition you into the program. Yeah, so that's it. I'll leave a copy at the front there, and if you want to come talk to me afterwards, that's fine too. Congratulations, everybody, for your attention.
All right, I just want to share something with you on many of the students that traditionally go to a AMT school. AMT schools are usually re-entry students. We have a very low number of high school graduates go directly to the program. Not because we don't like them, it's just because they figure they want to be doctors and lawyers, only they don't find that, well, you know, I don't really like that. And then turn around and they bump around and then they try many careers and then they go into the airport and hey, you know who does the least and get paid the most? Oh, mechanic, I want to be that, all right? And usually that's what that, but in reality, look at the benefits that you get out of these, all right? I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But most importantly is why is student services so important? Because it's not too well known. Because a lot of our students, they just want to get their license, get their certificate, and get out there and start working. To them, getting matriculated is not that important. Getting that job is very important. Getting that degree is not that important. But wait till you go 10, 20 years down the road, and then you look up there, oh, that's a glass ceiling for me. You want to break through, guess what you need to do? Then you look back and say, I wish I have my associate degree. So I could move on to get my bachelor, so I could go on and get my master. All right? I'm like that. When I first started, I needed a job. I needed to make money. Later on, hey, when I turned 60, I don't want to turn ranch, so I got my bachelor. Later on, I say, I'd like to be a director someday. So I went and get my master, all right, in businesses. You said, what in the world is a mechanic want to get a business degree? Well, you look at any engineer that makes vice president. They were engineer for a long time, and then the company say, go get your MBA. Then they become vice president. All right? That's what you need to look at. So where does it start? While you are still young, many of you, to me, when you are 30, you're still young. All right? So when you still could manage it, you know, you got all the energy, you could go to school, you could work full time, get your A, get your lower division out of the way. And that is what the academic counselor could do you a lot of good. It steer you to the right directions. And we have a lot of services to help you. We do have students with learning challenges. we do have DSPS program that could help you. Not because you cannot, not because you're stupid, but because you learn things differently. You need to learn, you need to find out how you learn what is effective for you. And we do have departments like that to help you understand yourself so you can succeed in your program. All right? That's what we have through the Community College District. That's what we have there for you. We have financial aid, we have different things. Many of you just look at money, 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 but you don't look at other things that help you succeed. We want you to look at that. That's why we invited Cam down here, okay? Now, this is just some of the crazy students, and some of them are standing behind you, and you're gonna have an opportunity at the end of this to talk with them, to ask them, why did you come to this school? Why didn't you go to another school? And why did you choose this field? And so on, okay? You're welcome to do that. Now, let's look at where the careers are, okay? Now, one of the things is, if you want to be a technician, you can work for the airlines. What is the advantage of airlines? The advantage of airlines is, of course, like you could go to Hawaii every other weekend for nothing, except you have to put up with the standby status, right? But travel benefit is what a lot of people look at. When you're young and you got a lot of time, to you, it's okay, you want to travel. Not only you get to travel, you and your family get to travel, and your parents get to travel. So make sure your son gets into that. All right? So there you have it. Their benefit is okay. I mean, airlines now are hiring. All right? But is airlines the only choice? The answer is no. General aviation, corporate aviation is also is big and alive. And they are very, very well paid now. Long time ago, there used to be about 10-20% difference between airline higher, general aviation lower. Right now, because there's such a shortage in aircraft mechanics, it's risen to almost the same. In some cases, general aviation is paying higher than airline because they don't offer flight benefits. So they have to compete for the same group of people. So we are mandated as a 147. At the maximum we could have on our student enrollment is only 25 per class. So this is why we have a waiting list. At the 25 students per class, we can only maximum graduate about 50 students every year, or every 2 years. All right, so if we go a couple of cohorts together, maybe 100 students per year. Right? But how could you replenish all these individuals, all these jobs demanding more and more A&P mechanic? You can't. So there is a big deficit now as we speak. Airline couldn't find workers. General aviation cannot find the workers. They basically will take you when you are just getting out of school. And they start you off pretty good as well. All right. So general aviation and OEM is another. You could work for Gulfstream. How would you like to work on a G5? All right. How would you like to do something like that? How would you like to work for people like, like Boeing, Airbus? You can work for them as well. They hire a mass group of people, and then they build whatever they have. If they have big order, they keep hiring, right, to replenish people that are leaving and so on and so forth. Aside from that, where can you get other jobs? An aviation-related field is that, it's a big multi-billion-dollar business in parts, in aircraft parts and sales, in PMA and all those. That's also a big part. A lot of people don't look into that. How about aircraft leasing companies? They also hire qualified mechanics. Of course, leasing company, you need a little bit more experience to get into them because you'll be getting into it as a consultant type, all right, on contract. But they pay you a lot more than what a mechanic would pay you. But that's another avenue that you could get into. Aircraft development and home build, we were talking about that, right? You have companies that do a lot of those, all right? It's become more and more popular in the light sport category now. You have a new company just spring up in Solano area, which is the Icon airplane. All right? That's a nice airplane. as an amphibian, could land on land or water. Basically, anybody, if you walk and talk and have some smart, you learn how you get a pilot license, you can fly it. That's what they say. All right. So aerospace industry, satellite industry, love A&P mechanic. Like L'Oreal is old Ford Aerospace, they hire A&P mechanic as well to build satellite. All right? That's another avenue you have. I had one student, graduated about a year ago, and he got a job over in NASA working for UAV development. So he thought, oh, they're going to lowball me. They're not going to pay me too much. They started him off, just graduated at $28,000 an hour. Wow. Isn't that nice? He went and bought a new car right away. So I don't know, he's still young. All right. Another industry, light rails, like BART, they love to hire A&P mechanics. Why not? All right. Automotive industry, elevator industry, they also like them. Because you learn about the electrical, you learn about mechanical, you learn how to do riveting. The very first BART was like aircraft. It's all made in semi-monocot, right? So you have riveting, you have all those as well. All right. Just remember, your A&P mechanic license is accepted globally. So if you want to, let's say, I kind of like Asia a little bit. Can I work in Asia? Yeah, if you're A&P mechanic, you can work in Asia. I did. All right, you could. They are accepted. All right. So current wages, we're looking at 50 plus. It's actually about 52,000 a year. And women are well accepted in the aviation industry. As I said earlier, I tend to find women to be a little bit different in their thinking, tends to be more methodical and more detail-oriented. They do make good mechanics. And we have Brittany in the back. She's going to tell you, yeah. Right? And, yeah. All right. Opportunity in vertical advancement as lateral movement as well. That means you don't have to worry about being a mechanic. Doesn't mean that you're going to be a mechanic all your life. All right? You can move up. There are opportunities to move up, right?
I did.
You did?
I started as a load planner and throwing bags with United 27 years ago, and I went to became a sheet metal mechanic. Loved avionics and electronics. Moved up to that, and I excelled at that. Became an instructor. Taught mechanics for United Airlines to maintain electrical systems and avionics, and finally moved into engineering. So with a big company like United Airlines, there's endless opportunity.
Yeah. So you're looking at opportunity, not only doing what you enjoy doing, but there's an opportunity for you to move up the ladder as well. Now, if you say, I just want to be a mechanic all my life, that's okay. Being in management, I got to have somebody I could be supervisor to. Don't you think? Right? So I move up to director level and say, that's enough. I want to be a consultant. Heck with that. But there are so many different opportunities for you, but you need to start looking forward. You cannot say, I just want to get my A&P license and I'm set for life. No, the A&P license only could get you started. You'll start going up from there. You're going to start learning more and more and more, and then with these advancements in all these modern-day aircraft, you heard of fly-by-wire self-landing and all those things. You really need to start keeping up with the industry, with the trend, and start looking toward these advancements, advanced composite. They're using exotic material to make this airplane lighter, faster, and longer range. All right? So you need to learn all these so that you can keep up with this progress that the aviation industry is going through. Now, this is a quote from AV Job. And if you look at this, you're looking at this projected 10,000 job opening for aircraft mechanics personnel increasing to 40,000 openings per year. This is not my quote. I just put this out yesterday. All right? Now, if you look at the Bureau of Statistics for job, they tell you it's only 2%. Well, they are wrong in a way. They are looking at 2012. What happened back then? Well, the economy wasn't too good, right? The economy wasn't doing too good. A lot of people that are in the industry cannot afford to retire. So what do? They stay in the job. They stay in the job. They stay in the job. Until when? Until they could give them, like right now, they give them a good retirement package and say, so long. And then you have a mass exodus out. And then that creates a big void. Where are they going to get people to fill this void? They can't. All right? They really can't. So you're looking at opportunity like this moving up and up and up. And it's going to be opening within, I would say within the next 5 years, the hiring is going to be very good into the next 5 years. All right? Maybe even further than that. But this right here is very optimistic because you're looking at 40,000 opening per year. That's a lot. We're looking at most of these jobs are in metropolitan cities, like San Francisco, Oakland, and major cities. All right, major city, because that's where they overhaul airplane. They need more people, more and more people like that. So what does it require? So what is required to become an A&P license? There's no prerequisite. Must you be an all-A student? No, you don't have to, because under the FAA curriculum in 147, Part 147, it mandated for us to retrain you in a lot of those fundamental, rudimental skills, like math, basic physics. Do you have enough to move on to understand the field? All right, basic on dynamics, and then later on you say, well, how airplane flies, how are they controlled, and how are they managed, and how do they propel themselves, okay? And so on and so forth. So you're gonna learn a little bit, one subject, and progress until you learn the entire airplane, how to repair the entire airplane. All right. Now, if you're a veteran, we do have veteran department in our school that could help you along that line. Is our program approved for veteran, what they call the reimbursement? Yes, it is. Huh? Yes, the GI Bill, yes, we are. You can't do that. Okay? All right. High school graduates or concurrent or dual enrollment, we are looking into, our dean and I, we're looking at ways to set up pathway into the high school as well. All right? So if you know individuals that are in the high school, we're moving that direction. All right? We used to have one, but it didn't turn out too good a long time ago. And we do have a lot of re-entry students. We have many re-entry students as well that didn't like what they do in the prior career. They say, well, it's time I change career. I always like airplane. I like to get into this. Nothing wrong with that. Or pilot that say, I want to work on my own airplane. Or retiree, we have one sitting here, and another one of my students, they just decide I'm retired, I'm semi-retired, I want to do something fun. I want to build airplane. So they come and get the A&P license so they could do it. So learn something, they could do it. Or they work on their own airplane. They're a pilot, they want to work on their own airplane because owning an airplane is not the most expensive. Servicing it, maintaining them is the most expensive when you have to pay somebody to do it. All right? And this is why. And a lot of we have more than a few that retired in their 50s, coming in, at least I have a few students that retired in their 50s. They decide they want to do something they like, finally. So they get into this field. Nothing wrong with that. The first step is what are you supposed to do? Let's say, assume that after tonight you say, well, you know what, I want to think about it, maybe in 2 years from now I want to do it, or I want to do it right away. All right. School like this, like ours, they all have waiting lists because we're restricted to a number of students we have per year. Now, we love to get all of you in there at one time, but the FAA said, no. The teacher to student ratio cannot exceed this. And that's what we have to live by, okay? All A&P schools are the same. So basically, you're looking at waiting lists unless you want to pay top dollars for something that you don't need to pay top dollar for, then you won't have a waiting list. They'll take you whatever. They just start another class. But for us, we will have a waiting list to come into our program. And because of that, you need to think in advance and act in advance, all right? And say, I want this. And this is what you need to do. All right. You need to talk to your counselor or if you are thinking already, you say, I'm going to do it, then talk to our counselors. Because they need to see, well, you have everything you have. Are you a resident? Are you not a resident? Are you, whatever it takes, they will program you in. For us, basically, you let us know, we put you on waiting list, and say, okay, fine, you're in. I believe a few of you already told you that you receive a letter from me that you have been given the opportunity to join us. Or, so you will be in that program. Because next semester, we are starting a new cohort, new cycle. All right, so we could take on another 25 students. Otherwise, we have to wait 2 years every time we wait a year and a half before we could take on 25 students, and that's slow. But slowly, we're expanding. We're expanding. Now, the most important thing is you have to be committed to doing this for you. Why? If I tell you now, you might want to leave right away. The thing is, you have to be in class 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, and you cannot miss more than 2 days. Huh? That means I get to see you more often than you see your family. We become your extended family, right, kid? They asked me how many kids I have at home. I said, I have only a few at home, but I got a lot here. Because seriously, that's what the FAA requires, because you need to go through 1,900 hours of curriculum within that 2 years period. Okay? That 1,900 hours equate to 5 days a week, about 5 to 6 hours a day. All right? And then with half an hour lunch, with a break here and there. But you better be really committed. All right? Because if you miss more hours, guess what happened? Your grade dropped, you failed, we cannot give you FAA credit. Then what's the use in attending? You kind of lose everything. All right? So because of that, we want to make sure that you know the commitment to become aircraft mechanics. Doesn't matter whether you're talking about our school or another school. It's all the same. The time requirement is one that we have no control over. It's not like, oh yeah, you could take a day off here and there. Students take days off to go skiing, usually come back next semester, repeat the same course again. All right? So those are things that are mandated by the FAA, and the FAA do monitor all those very, very carefully. Schools that kind of let people skate by, all right, usually those that graduated from those schools have to be retested because they invalidated all their experience and all those. We don't want to be one of those. That's right. That's why we uphold the rules and regulation to the letter. All right? And the FAA is only down the block. They come by anytime they want, and we invite them in. They look at our records all the time. And sometimes these guys were just walking around and say, who's that guy? Well, that's the FAA. Oh, all right. So financial aid is there. If financial aid, if money is your issue, then you should talk to our financial aid officers. All right? Because we do have help for you. We do have fee waivers. We do have reduced tuitions and things like that to help you along. All right? So don't let, because I don't have money for this, to hold you back. All right? Yeah, you have to remember that. I remember the most gratifying experience I had was I had a student, a woman student, who was a homeless for many years. So one day she decided want to be a mechanic. So she came to our program. She even had to take shower at the school. But after 2 years, she found a job at American Airlines. Within a year time, she bought a house and got married. That was the best. Every time I look at that, I always remember. This person has a drive. Main thing is she has what? The commitment. She's there every day. She did not miss a day, but she has the goal set is that I'm going to be a mechanic. And she did. And she did real well. I think she's in management now over in American. All right. So Camille already talked about student support. So now I just want to give you an opportunity to ask some questions. Yes?
How does the evening program start?
Our program is mainly evening program. Now, in this area, there are 3 schools. The AIM, which is which is not a community college, it's a private school. There's us in COA, and there's City College in San Francisco. All right? The one in San Francisco is a daytime program. That runs from 7:30 to 1:30. All right? I know that because I used to be chair over there. All right? Over here, our program runs from 3 to 9 something. The reason for that is we kind of a gentleman agreement that school cater to individuals that work midnight and swing shift. We cater to those that work the midnight and days. That way, we try to cover it within this geographic area. And then we have students coming in from real far, all right? And then they're coming to us because the hour fit their needs. Right? But our program is basically evening program. So if you're looking for daytime program, City College will be the one that you're looking at. Although that is the case at this time. But in the year, I think within a year or so, we are looking at expanding it into daytime as well, covering morning as well as evening. All right? But at this time, we're only evening. Any other question? No? You're so nice. You know, this is the only time I get to work. I'd like to, let's give a big hand to the museum. They did a real good job for us. They set all these up for us.